go ahead and do lesson 46 in our history. Today it's pretty easy. We're just going to be studying about a map. So you're going to need one page in your reader and one page in your work text. So in your reader, we're going to be on page 140, traveling with maps. And then the work text page we're going to do is page 61. All right, so today we're going to be, like I said, talking about maps, road maps, getting around. Now, I will say this, when I was younger, even after I married and all, we didn't have cell phones. There was no such thing even as the internet. It had not yet been invented, or if it had, I didn't know anything about it. And no cell phones. Only very wealthy people had those, and they were these great, big, huge things that they kept in their car. In fact, I worked for a lawyer who was somewhat wealthy, and he had this great big box thing in his car, and it was a cell phone, but it wasn't anything like the cell phones today. It was like a regular old-timey phone. But anyway, so today, if you're lost, you pull out your phone, and it has a GPS on it. You can even just ask, hey, where am I at? And it'll tell you where you're at. Hey, how do you get to, give me directions to the nearest Mexican food restaurant, and it'll tell you. So a lot of young people today, they don't quite know how to read a paper map. And you might think, well, we don't really need those anymore because we have our internet. Well, that is true, but what if one day all of the electricity went out, we didn't have any more electricity, and you had to figure out how to get from here to there without your GPS system, and all you had was a paper map? So it is very important to know how to do it, because that actually could happen one day. So let's read about maps first, and then we'll work with a map. So let's read on page 140 where it says traveling with maps. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about the different parts of a map. So to find their way across vast oceans, ship captains need good maps. Lines divide these maps. Map makers put lines on maps to help people measure distance. If you look at this map that I have pulled up here, it's just a little small tiny piece of Winnsboro that I pulled up. You see these lines here? Okay, these lines are important, okay? Map makers put those on there to help people tell the the distance between somewhere. Now, lines of latitude run from side to side, and they measure the distance between a location and the equator. Lines of longitude run up and down. They measure the distance between a location and the prime meridian. Most maps have a key. Now this map does not have a key. Like I said, it's just a little tiny piece of Winnsboro. But most maps do have a key. The key explains the symbols that the map uses. As you can see, there really are no symbols except for these, but you know those are road numbers. Anybody knows that. There's not really any symbols on this map. Some maps also have a compass rose. There is not one on this map either. And it shows the cardinal directions, which way is north, south, east, or west. Most maps have a scale. Sometimes 1 inch on a map means 1,000 miles. A map scale is a line that compares distances on a map to the distances in the real world. Now, some maps are easy to read. They have only a few symbols on their key. Some maps have much information. All maps, though, can help us understand history. All right, so this map does have our lines, and it shows on these lines what these streets. Of course, on this map, the lines represent the streets. But if you were to zoom way out on this map, in fact, let me pull this up over here. Now, this is what we saw yesterday. So let's pull out a little bit, see if we might find something. See, this is zooming way, way, way out. This is Wood County. No, this is not Wood County. I guess this is the part of Winnsboro that has the zip code 75494. I think that's your zip code where you live. See, I live in the Quitman area. See, here's some, we're zoomed out here. So the map that we have right here would be somewhere way inside there. These maps really aren't the good kind of maps that I wanted to show you. But nonetheless, we'll go ahead and keep this pulled up. So let's take what we know then, and let's look at our map on page 61 in our work text. Now, before I we do this map, I wanted to ask you, kind of go back over what I read. Now, how do map makers divide up maps and show distances? They use lines, right? Okay, so we use these lines to measure distance. Okay, so lines that run up and down on a map are called lines of longitude. And you can think lines of longitude because they're long, but we just say longitude. Okay, and the lines on a map that run this way, we might say they are lines of fatitude. They're wide, fatitude, but we call them latitude. Now, symbols on a map are shown what they mean by using a map key, right? What does a compass rose show? Do you know what a compass rose is? Let me see if I can get a picture of one. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Look what I did. That was just really dumb. There we go. All right, these are compass rose. It shows you on a map which way is north, which way is south, east, and west. So these are called a compass rose. All right, so let's look then at our map on page 61. Now this is a city map, and it's showing places of interest, the different streets in a city. Now there is a key in the far left corner because there's a lot of different symbols that are used on this map. So we know that an M inside of a red square is a metro station. I'm assuming that would be like perhaps where you ride a train maybe around the city. A blue P with a blue circle is public parking. Anyone can park there. Okay, and then right underneath the key you have what's called a scale. So you could use a sheet of paper, you could use whatever, but that means that measurement on the map represents 2 city blocks. So you could say, well, the George Washington University is however many city blocks to Lafayette Park or whatever. So let's go ahead and answer our question. Oh, and you see the compass rose down in the right corner, north, south, east, and west. It kind of shows you that. So that means that everything up on the map towards the top is north, everything to the right is east, everything down is south, and everything to the left is west. Now, how are the streets named that run north to south? So let's find the streets that go from the north, which would be from the top of the map down. So we have, on the left side, we have 25th Street, and then next to that we have 24th Street, and then 23rd Street, and then we have 22nd Street. Are you following me? Then we have right through George Washington University, you've got 21st Street. Remember, these go from north, from the top to the bottom, north to south, 20th Street. Then we have 19th, then we have 18th, then we have 17th Street, more of 17th, then 16th, then 15th, then another 15th Street. So on number 1, it says, how are the streets named that run north to south? They're named by numbers, aren't they? In this city, all of the streets that run north and south are named by numbers. So you can know that when you come to a numbered street, these run north and south. So number 1, it's by numbers. Look at number 2. How are the streets named that run east to west? Okay, well, let's find the streets that run east to west. Now, east to west is going to be right to left on the map. According to the compass rose, right to left is east to west. Okay, so we have at the very top, we have K Street, we have I Street, we have H Street, I see C Street, D Street, F and G Street, H Street. Okay, so the streets that run east to west, or left to right on the map, are named by letters or by the alphabet. So that's your answer on number 2, by the alphabet. Number 3 says, how many metro stations are there? Metro stations are that's the red M in the red box. How many do you see? 4. So number 3, the answer is 4. How many parking areas do you see on the map? 3. All right. Now, let's look at number 5. How many city blocks of I Street are shown on this map? All right, so I Street. How many city blocks of I Street? Okay. Let's see, there's one up at the top, kind of right in the center, up at the very top of the map. You see K Street, you see Washington Circle, and there's K Street all the way across. Look down below K Street to the next street. You see I Street. Okay, there's one. And then look over to the left. You see that first little metro station on the far left. Right underneath that, there's another I Street. That's 2. We have to measure how many city blocks. Okay, this is where you're going to use a sheet of paper. And what you're going to do is you're going to put you're going to put that piece of paper, the corner of that paper, down on your little measurement mark. I can't show you because my camera's not working, but you see the measurement down in the key. All right, so you're going to put the corner of your paper, just a scrap piece of paper, the corner of your paper on the 0, and then you're going to mark it with a little pencil or pen where it shows 2 city blocks. So you'll mark that. So you should have this little tiny mark on your paper from the corner to your little mark, okay? So let's go up. Let's take that after you mark that. Let's go up and measure that first I Street and the second I Street. So measure that and see how many city blocks it takes. Remember, that whole measurement on your piece of paper measures 2 city blocks. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, you should get 8 or 9 city blocks. So with your measurement, measure that first part of I Street and that second part of I Street, and it should come out to be, well, actually, I Street goes straight across. I see where it goes. Yeah, so it goes from the left side of your map where it meets 25th Street, and then I Street goes across west to east. Okay, so you measure all the way across there. It goes through that metro place all the way to Pennsylvania Avenue, and then up from Pennsylvania, just you'd turn north on Pennsylvania Avenue, and then I Street would go back east again, all the way across. Okay, so once you measure that, you should get 8 or 9 city blocks. Okay, because you'll measure it 2, and then 4, and then 6, and then 8, and then a little bit more. So it'll be about 8 or 9. Now, if you didn't quite understand how to do that, if I lost you there, you might see if you could ask your grandmother to show you how to mark that on your key, that measurement on that scale, and measure those city blocks, because my camera's not working, so I can't show you myself. Okay, let's look at number 6. What route would be the shortest if you were at Washington Circle and wanted to go to the White House? You would take Pennsylvania Avenue down to 17th Street. You notice that? From Washington Circle, you would take Pennsylvania Avenue to 17th Street. Now, you could take K Street all the way over to 17th Street, but your shortest, best route would be Pennsylvania to 17th. Okay? So that would be your answer there on number 6. Pennsylvania Avenue to 17th Street. Okay? All right, so go ahead and get that done. Make sure you understand that scale. That's the main thing I want you to understand, okay? And the parts of the map, the compass rose, the key, the latitude and the longitude, the lines that they are used to measure distance. Okay? That will be all your lesson for the day.